Welcome back to Stuttering Sports. Today is June 7th, 2021, and the topic for today is the Chicago Bears and their tricky situation heading into the 2021 season. We all know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the quarterback situation. We're talking about Andy Dalton versus Justin Fields. Then I'm going to talk about the roster as a whole. Then I want to talk about their chances in the 2021 season. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with the quarterback quote-unquote battle, because this should not be a battle. They traded way too much for Justin Fields not to start the guy week one. I get that you want to win games, so maybe Andy Dalton gives you a better chance if Justin Fields is not ready. If so, fair enough, but the way I view it is even if Andy Dalton is more ready right now, he will give your team a better chance to win. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace need this to work out. They were somehow given one last chance. They were given a second chance. I don't know how, but they're back for one more year. And you could tell the desperation the moment they gave up an extra first to trade up to get Justin Fields, who I really like that pick. That's a great pick to me. They had to move on from Mitch Trubisky. They signed Dalton at first, like damn, they missed out on the whole Watson-Wilson sweepstakes. So you guys can get this veteran quarterback and then do something during the draft, and that's exactly what they did. That's a great plan. But you have to start Justin Fields week one. Ryan Pace made great moves this offseason by changing up the quarterback room and making it a good QB room. They also have Nick Foles in there, who's a good veteran that can help Justin Fields out. But I do think he should be off the roster soon, though. That fucking sucks for Nick Foles. 2 years after getting that massive contract just to be a third string, but I'm not getting into that. But Justin Fields should start week one. I don't see why not. This is for the team's future's sake and Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's future. Because if he's not starting week one, it shows to me and a lot of fans that, alright, Fields isn't that good. Fields is not impressing people, which, I mean, it's his first, training camp, so it's not like that's end-all, be-all. But what I'm saying is, that's a rough first start for a coach and GM who need to come out banging this year and make the playoffs and show promise in their future, because they made the playoffs last year, but they did not show any promise with the future. Mitchell Trubisky was the QB, Foles was the QB. You need a QB, and that defense straight carried them. So it is clear their game plan fixed the QB position for the future, and Andy Dalton is not the future. That's why they had to give up that much to get Justin Fields, because they need a future. They need to prove to whoever the owner is, hey, please let us keep our jobs. And if Fields is not starting week one, that future, at least Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace's future, is not too bright. Justin Fields' future can be insanely bright. Even if he does not start week one, he could have a great career. But Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, they need him to bang early. And I think he's set up with a pretty good position. I mean, hell, the Bears made the playoffs last year with Mitchell Trubisky. Their defense is still intact. Khalil Mack with Akeem Hicks is nasty as fuck. You have Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan, Robert Quinn on the other side of Khalil Mack. That secondary room got Desmond Trufant this offseason. You already got Eddie Jackson. You have a few young cornerbacks. This defense is obviously raw. No one will ever dispute that. And if they can lead a team to the playoffs last year, they can probably do it this year. Because especially with Aaron Rodgers probably not playing, the Lions are going to be bad. I think the Vikings are building something good, but it's going to need 2-3 more years. So the Bears, I mean, they're probably the favorite to win this division, considering Rodgers does not play. So I do think the Bears are set up in a great spot for Fields. When you look at the offense, they drafted Cole Kmet last year. They already have Jimmy Graham. They brought back Allen Robinson, which is huge. He did not want to come back, but they forced him back, and they got the quarterback for him. They already have Darnell Mooney, who had a great rookie year. They have Riley Ridley, who's entering his third year. And the offensive line faced a pretty big change throughout the draft, in which I personally love. They traded up to pick Tevin Jenkins, who is a guy who I thought was great coming out of college. He's a great run blocker. Then speaking of the rushing game, David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, that has been your two guys. Tariq Cohen is that pass catching back who can give Justin Fields that security blanket. As David Montgomery, we all saw him towards the end of last season. Dude was a fantasy monster. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he rushed for 100 plus each of those last 4 or 5 games, which is absurd. So when you look at the offense for Fields, he has 2 veteran QBs to teach him. He has a good rushing game. The offensive line is serviceable with a young left tackle. And he has a good, not great receiving core. Plus, he also has 2 tight ends to give that security blanket. He is set right now. He is set with the offense. But he's got to start week 1. He needs to. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy need to show the people we're confident with this guy, because he's the one who needs to save our ass throughout this past 4 years of bullshit. He needs to save our ass. And that defense is going to save the team's ass. We saw it last year. They somehow went 9-7. So, the defense is going to lead them to some wins. But Fields has got to step up to save Nagy and Pace's job. And do I think he will? Yes. Because he's put in a great situation. Maybe not with Matt Nagy, but with the offense in general and with that quarterback room, I think he's put into a great situation. So, yeah, just to recap, Fields needs to start week 1. That's exactly what this video was for. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Trying to get more of those things. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed and have a great day.